Let's don't let a good thing die.
There are things that are bigger than just coincidence.
So makes the devil.
That's what a ritual is.
I swear to Lucifer. I think the label went bankrupt, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
A ritual is something that you do over and over and over again a certain way.
The concrete structure's been done, and that's 26 million pounds of concrete. This is the first natural layer. We're going to be putting the first layers of subsoil on. And for me, what I love about that is now I can envision like a mountain lion's paw print in the soil. So far it's been this really concrete, but now this is the first natural layer we're putting on.
What in the world? What up, my good people, and welcome back. Welcome back. Y'all already know the drill, but for those that don't, what we're about to do is kick back and watch some of the creepiest TikToks I could find this week. With all that being said, let's get into it.
Mary is another clear example of someone that is stuck in a contract. She looks miserable every time I see her. But unfortunately, due to her contract and also because of probably her ex, she is going to have to do this for the rest of her life.
The fact that Elon called out the royal family on trafficking was massive. Yeah. That's the real deal. That's what's really happening. I mean, when we start to see the underground tunnels, when we start to see the network globally, not just a network of sort of the scum of the earth, but the network underground that's feeding the top elite, that's going to blow people's mind.
So I think I figured out why they give people multiple life sentences. Because I used to always trip out, like, why would they give someone already doing life another life sentence? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I seen a video the other day, dude got 16 life sentences. I think it's because of reincarnation. You don't just have one life. So that dude's karma is he has to reincarnate 15 times. And he might even have to go to prison every time he reincarnates. And that's crazy, huh?
He very well could be right, but who knows? Maybe that's why all the judges wear black robes like they're the Grim Reaper.
I don't know if y'all can see what I see.
Oh my God.
Do y'all see what I see? That look like a face. That look like a face. That's the nose. That's the lips. That's the face. Do y'all see what I see?
This is the weirdest sport ever. It's called nose pulling, a game where two participants are tied together by a rope around their faces, and they have to push as hard as possible to make their opponent tap out. But the reason behind this game will shock you. This game was created to make players stronger and better at dealing with pain. Would you dare to try this?
Tsunami sirens blasting in southern Chile today after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit in the Drake Passage. That's the area of the ocean nearest Antarctica. Around 2,000 people evacuated to higher ground. The tsunami alert is over now. Officials saying there was no damage and nobody was hurt.
Former Bush official came out today and said that they spent over $21 trillion to build underground cities and military bases in case of an extinction event. This underground city/military facility, along with transportation, was meant for the rich and elite to stay in the event of an extinction event.
I wonder if that's where the missing trillions disappeared to before 9/11.
Ancient ruins in Burma have popped out of the ground after an earthquake in what is now Myanmar. Okay, this is wild because Burma is actually gorgeous and they have a really rich culture. And unlike many other governments, the Burmese government gave the okay to excavate quickly after these were discovered.
All right?
What's the matter? What's the matter?
Treasure. Say, are you all right?
What's the matter?
I know, right? I know.
During the Vietnam War, the U.S. military launched a secret weather modification program called Operation Popeye. The goal? To extend the monsoon season and disrupt enemy supply routes along the Ho Chi Minh Trail by creating heavy rainfall. Using planes to disperse silver iodide into clouds, they succeeded in increasing rainfall by up to 30%. Despite its effectiveness, the operation remained classified for years and sparked controversy when revealed.
9/11 is only 24 years ago, and I have all the information. I have the firefighters ready to go. I have the tapes of the firefighters and what they saw and heard. I have all the architects and engineers and all their 3,000 of them risking their careers. I have the lawyers. I have the families. Everybody's ready to go. All Trump has to do is name a new presidential commission. Let them do the investigation. We'll give them all the material, and then we'll show the country that we will not allow these people to commit these kinds of they're not even unscrupulous. They're outrageous and scandalous and traitorous acts against our nation. Imagine planning to kill American people.
In the old days, the FBI was a great organization. Unfortunately, as I said a few moments ago, it's been infiltrated by the satanic cult, Illuminati movement, as well as other agencies like the NSA and the CIA.
Let me show you some places where dates potentially have been changed. Now, this person is John Henry Reisner, okay? And Wikipedia is going to tell you he was born on the 4th of July, for example.
1734.
Yes, thereabout. So that looks like maybe somewhere around 300 years ago. But look at his own work, because he's a desk maker, by the way. Let me see where it says that here. From Paris. It's going to say somewhere here that he makes
He made a table for
something like that. Yeah, so he's a desk maker. Now look at the date he put on his chair. What's this?
1769.
No, that's what it looks like. What's this?
What's that? J?
Exactly.
J769. What does that mean?
So that means the year he made it is the year 769, not year 1769. And this
769.
Yes. And this J is what I told you about. Anno Domini Jesus 769.
Yeah, the reign of Jesus.
So this was made in year 769, and that is just about 300 years ago. So over time, this J, they began to change this J and I, either Jesus or Jesus, to one. That's a whole 1,000 years.
She seems so overwhelmed, but hey, I get it. It's a lot to take in at first, but you gotta remember, time is only a man-made illusion.
So this man feels scammed after he bought this piece of land for $9,100. So this father and son thought that they had just gotten the deal of a lifetime. For just $9,100, they thought that they had just bought this $177,000 house. But instead, they only got this strip of land right outside of the house. And the city claims that they should have read the small print before investing their money.
Did you know the CIA had a secret program using popular songs to control your mind? In 1967, Project M-Cultra documents reveal the agency tested specific sound frequencies hidden in music to alter human behavior and emotions. They discovered certain beats could trigger fear, compliance, or even mass hysteria. The scariest part? They tested these frequencies in public places, including shopping malls and radio stations.
You guys really don't see what the media is doing to him right now? The dude is swarmed. You know where you're gonna see him next? It's gonna look something like this. Or something like that. This stuff isn't looking familiar to any of you. Any shot that gets taken of Justin Bieber ends up on something like this. Is any of this stuff feeling familiar to any of you yet? And it's almost like at this point asking Hailey Bieber to help Justin is equivalent of asking Kevin Federline to help Britney. Justin Bieber goes bonkers. Help me. Inside Britney's breakdown, Britney's meltdown. Justin Bieber, crazy mood swings, dangerous behavior, non-stop crying, body in ruins. In fact, many fans believe that the media is partially responsible for the breakdown of Britney Spears. In fact, you can find almost identical articles stating Justin Bieber posts emotional plea says paparazzi attention has to stop. The paparazzi has gotten so toxic for Hailey and Justin Bieber that people like Candace Owens have urged them to leave LA. And honestly, with how his post ended, I'm kind of confused as why he wants to be so surrounded by it.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Now some justification for this shit.
Yeah, things aren't looking too good for old Justin Bieber. I got a feeling this is going to end a lot worse than a conservative ship.
These serial killers got caught because of stupid mistakes they made. Dennis Rader was a prolific serial killer in Kansas from 1974 to 1991. He was called BTK, which stood for Bind, Torture, Kill, because that's what he liked to do. But he also liked to taunt the police. He would send the police letters signed BTK, which could not be traced back to his real identity. So in the early 2000s, he had been dormant for over 10 years, but he still liked to taunt the police. And the early 2000s also brought new technology for communicating. So BTK, being the mad genius he was, wrote a letter to police asking if he sent them a floppy disk, would they be able to trace it back to him? And the police answered this letter basically saying, no, we totally can't do that. So BTK sends the police a floppy disk, and there's metadata on this floppy disk that says the last edit was done by someone named Dennis at Christ Lutheran Church. And then a 10-second Google search showed police that Dennis Rader was the president of the council at Christ Lutheran Church. Afterwards, the police basically came out and said that if Dennis had just kept his mouth shut and kept murdering, they probably would have never caught him.
The cops said no, and he actually believed them.
The Jesus mockery continues as Lady Gaga at Coachella comes out wearing this. And the opening to her song is "Raise Your Hands Like Jesus." And she has this cross across her chest. And I mean, she's infamous for mocking Jesus and Christianity, but this is just on a whole nother level. It's just demonic. The mockery in Hollywood is at an all-time high. They all mock Jesus. They all hate Jesus. And we know exactly who they worship. Their father, the devil. And that's the truth.
Check this out. So this is the island. And it just has like hanging toy dolls all over the trees. Deserted island in Mexico. So the legend has it that there was this man that lived there, right, by himself. And there was a girl that died. She drowned nearby the island. And ever since he saw that girl drown, dolls would float up to the surface of the water out of nowhere and they would just appear. So for 50 years, this guy would take the dolls and tie them to the trees and just hang them. 50 years.
I think there are clones. Okay.
Do you think Britney Spears is her?
That's not Britney Spears. I'm sorry, it's not Britney Spears.
Oh.
Go look at photos. That's not Britney Spears.
How do you think that these people would hide that, Kristen? If somebody tried to clone you, I would scream it from the top of the mountains like that's not Kristen.
You literally will get killed.
Oh my.
It's a dark thing that dolphins do. Dolphins have this long
period where the baby has to be with the mother.
Sure.
Like many years.
They have a big
Yeah.
brain. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And so during that time period, the female will not breed with other dolphins.
Right.
So male dolphins will often kill the baby to force the female into estrus. So the female solution is to be hypersexual. So the females breed with as many males as possible. So the male will go, oh, I've had sex with her, that might be my kid.
But I mean, we've had reports of these things taking like gunfire at point blank range with like no physical effects at all. There was a lady north of us who said that these things were trying to get into her home. Killed one of her dogs, supposedly. We're talking to her, and it got to a point where apparently it rammed its hand through an open window and tried to grab an uncle, and the family opened fire on it from point blank range, and nothing happened to it.
I mean, you got some encounters that they appear and they disappear right before people's eyes. They just seem to love terrifying people. They'll grin at people, and that would seem like more of a demonic manifestation to me. However, I do believe also that there's something physical in some capacity running around in the woods, because, you know, we find hair samples.
Wait, what's this guy do? What? What is that? That's having some ceremony, cuz.
Hollywood is evil.
Tell me why.
No, just listen. I love you.
Has it always been, or is it now?
Always. Literally, the flight you brought me on, I watched Jerry Maguire.
One of my all-time favorites.
They don't make them like that anymore, Patrick. Why? Because Hollywood controls the content. What's Hollywood about now? Wait, because I did this on Jamie Kennedy, I got in trouble. Jamie Kennedy said, you're wrong. Hollywood is not elitist. Hollywood does not have a small club that it feeds itself and they make Barbie and MCU, and that's it. They want the money. The machine of Hollywood wants the money, not the art, not the quality film like Jerry Maguire. They don't want that. They used to. Patrick, I'm done with that. I'm done. Hollywood is gonna die in the next 20 years because of that. It will, because people don't care. They're already getting it right to their phone, what they want. What's always worked is great movies, and we're not doing that anymore.
I have to say, I do agree. Hollywood is losing their control over people fast. They don't care about the money anymore. They just want to program your brain.
This man ate his girlfriend's body parts and kept her head in the freezer.
What?
This isn't a movie. This is a real case that happened in Mexico. Jose Luis Calva was also known as El Caníbal de la Guerrero. He was a writer, a charming man, and a monster. In 2007, police entered his apartment because his girlfriend Alejandra had disappeared. They found her body in the closet, dismembered. Her limbs were in the fridge, and most of her human flesh was in the stove in the kitchen. And the most horrifying part of all was that her head was also placed in the freezer. Not only that, but they found a notebook of him. It was like a diary of him describing the acts. When police tried to arrest him, he tried running away by jumping off the balcony, and he broke 2 of his legs. He never faced trial because months later they found him unalived in his jail cell. Some people said that he did something to himself, and others say that he might have been executed. What could possibly drive a man to want to write a horrible story and then act it out? Because before he did all of this, remember, he had a diary where he wrote a horrific scene and act, and he actually did it in real life to his girlfriend. What do you guys think about this horrific case?
That's crazy. Dude obviously had severe mental issues for sure. Whenever you want to leave your wife, get a divorce, not cut her head off.
Used for? Well, they're called casket liners, but this is too big to be on the inside of a casket. So, certainly this could be used as a casket. This is an inexpensive casket. My friends here, we could all probably get inside. It might be a little cozy, but we'd fit just fine. Which tells me that these liners can be used for more than just one. And we're told that there were about 500,000 out here.
They told you it was just another death. But when a pope dies, it's not just a headline, it's a ritual, a reset, and a signal to those who still run the shadows. They don't mourn, they activate. Because the Vatican isn't what you think it is. It's a circuit, a throne, a lock. And that lock just turned. What happens now? You won't hear it in the news, but you'll feel it. Come to YouTube. This one changes everything. Something just shifted. The veil's been rattled. You heard about what happened, but do you know what it really means when a pope dies? This isn't just about religion. It's about power. It's about the grid. And it's about what comes next. They're not mourning. They're mobilizing.
All magic is inherently evil. Reading your horoscope.
Here are 2 daily practices we all do that allow the devil to enter our lives.
Things may seem like they're entertaining, but that doesn't mean that the devil isn't using that in a very subtle way. I even mentioned the practice of knocking on wood. Has anybody ever knocked on wood? Do you know where the practice comes from? It's a Druid practice believing that spirits live in the trees. So when you knock on wood, you're asking the spirit that lives in the tree to come to your aid and to grant your request. But I just share that as an example of how things that have to do with the occult can become so mainstream that we don't even think about what they mean or what it is that we're doing.
You hear a really crazy conspiracy theory that nuclear bombs were not made for humans, but they were made for aliens.
I don't think so.
Well, what about Project Fishbowl? It was basically to test nuclear detonations in the atmosphere and underwater. They let off 29 atmospheric nuclear tests.
Oh my gosh.
In 1962. So shortly after the Roswell incident, they truly wanted to see what a nuclear bomb would do interacting with the atmosphere. And it's like, why?
So you're telling me we can't use hairspray, but they can shoot bombs off?
The tests involved detonating nuclear devices at altitudes ranging from 20 to 250 miles above Earth's surface. There's classified documents too, CIA documents, and all these stories about all these nuclear tests. There seems to always be something with UFOs in them, like an interaction with UFOs. And then with those stories about the UFOs coming and disarming nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
But then there's some scenarios to where they actually arm them. So that's where the theory that nukes weren't made for people, but they're made to combat this UFO, UAP phenomenon.
Is that actually what happened? I never understood where the levees were. Is that actually what happened? Oh my god. In 20 years, I didn't know that this is actually what happened.
Is the Euphrates still drying up?
Yeah, and they're starting to find statues at the bottom.
Yes.
And doesn't it say in the Bible that there's going to be Leviathan at the bottom of the river?
Not Leviathan. It's like imprisoned, like Nephilim.
Nephilim, yeah.
Yeah.
And there are statues that are being revealed at the bottom of it, so.
Because like I think there was a guy that like claimed that he had like recordings, like on top, like near the Euphrates River, and like he was saying like you could hear like chains and stuff like underneath like the ground and whatnot.
This is why you shouldn't play games with the dead. A girl named Vicky explains that ever since her younger sister
you.
a chandelier seems to fall off the ceiling in front of Vicky. From her sister seeing a horrific face, to now a chandelier mysteriously falling in front of her, almost injuring her. Vicky and her sister stop playing the game.
I can't blame them. Shit, I would have stopped playing right after seeing that face.
The people who run this world know that most people couldn't care less about truth. America's not the land of the free and the home of the brave. We're not free or brave. Need to wake up and find out we're just here. The people who founded this country were men that we can't even converse with. They used a whole different terms and different logic. They were men of renown. Brilliant, intelligent men who were students of history. Of course they made enemies in England, but they had the respect of the British kings and the respect of the British royalty. They may not have loved them, but they respected them because they were brilliant, intelligent men. Unfortunately, our country today has very few, if any, of those qualities left. As political and economic freedom diminishes, sexual freedom tends compensatingly to increase. And the dictator, unless he needs cannon fodder or families with which to colonize the empty and conquered territories, will do well to encourage that freedom, in conjunction with the freedom to daydream, under the influence of narcotics, the movies, the radio, and it will now help to reconcile his subjects to the servitude which is now their fate.
Although I did take offense to that, preach it, baby, preach it.
What the fuck happened at Coachella this year? Here are the 4 weirdest moments you seriously can't ignore. Right from the start, things felt off. Billie Eilish walked on stage barefoot. No intro, no sound. Just 1 full minute of complete silence. Then she screamed, "Wake up," and jumped straight into her first track. No one knows if it was performance art or a full-on meltdown. Then came Doja Cat. She always goes wild, but this time she wore a full alien-style exosuit with LED veins that lit up with the bass. At one point, her eyes turned pitch black on the screen. People were shook. Like, is that even normal? Some random guy in a bunny costume crashed Skrillex's set. He grabbed the mic and yelled, "Coachella isn't real." Security didn't even move. He just walked away like nothing happened. Still, nobody knows who he was. And the craziest part? Lana Del Rey ended her set with a slow, creepy version of the national anthem, while drones made an upside-down pyramid in the sky. The whole crowd went dead silent. No cheers. Just this weird vibe, like everyone saw something they shouldn't have.
They look so stupid. Why do they go out of their way to make themselves look so stupid? Make me want to puke.